Well, squaddies, welcome back once again to the Shattered Isles. As always, I am D, and today, like I mentioned last week, we'll be taking a look at the Fearless Slayers Bestiary for the Kharabak. First off, I want to point out that this person in front of me actually has something unique. That is the God Hand, a special pike that you can get from the heroic stuff that I'll be talking about pretty soon. It's a special pike, and I hope we get to see why, but anyway, the Kharabak has... how many did I count? Sorry. Yeah, alright, I was right. The Kharabak has 9 attacks. Of course, one of them is the Enrage. The Kharabak, unlike the Hellion from last week, does not have an Ether Charge, technically. Because the Kharabak is unique in that it has no elemental alignment, but it has 2 elemental weaknesses. One of the other hunters, or one of their slayers that's with us today, has one of them. I have the other. The Kharabak is weak to fire and lightning. So if you have either of those in your team, or both preferably, you're in good stead. The Kharabak is something that a lot of people have seen, but they might not have known the name of. It is the giant orange insect looking thing. In fact, somebody spotted it, so we'll be able to see it soon. Yep, there it is. You might have seen this on some splash screens or on the start menu for the game. That is the Kharabak right there. Now, like I said, it has 9 attacks, and it is unique as well in that it can cause a couple of different status effects, including one that is unique to itself and the Razor Wing, which is its Maelstrom evolved cousin. This is the first one. This is its infestation attack. You'll see how it kind of moved back, slammed its tail into the ground, and then there's those bugs behind it. Those will actually cause infestation. Basically, they'll surround you in a cloud of bugs that can interrupt your attack. In fact, you see it there. They deal some damage over time. And I just got rid of it. But you can actually kind of get rid of it by attacking. That right there. There's a couple of attacks. There's just a tail swipe. You want to be careful because that's got a longer hitbox and you think there's the God Hand's unique effect. It can constantly do that, and the damage goes up over time. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about the God Hand right now. There's the Thorax Slam, flies up, his tail goes down, his tail's pointing down, and then it just rolls forward in a flip and slams its butt into the ground. That right there is the Metronome Cut. There's the Blade Toss. Yeah, it's just Blade Toss. Alright, we've already broken apart. The Kharabak is not terribly sturdy, so I might not even get to talk about all of its attacks. This is the Kharabak's Enrage. This is one I really wanted to talk about, because you'll notice all of a sudden, the Kharabak's kind of invisible. This is unique to the Kharabak. Its Enrage does this. You can still knock it out of it, of course, by, hurting it. And it kind of does Predator-style invisibility, where it's kind of got you can kind of still see it a little. But it also kind of makes the Kharabak's attacks usually cause the other status effect that it can cause, which is wounding. The Kharabak is very good about that. When it comes out of the Enrage is a great opportunity because it does that dive forward, and then its claw will stick in the ground. We are just brutalizing this thing, so like I said, I might not get to show you all of the attacks firsthand. It's already enraged again. That's kind of funny. Yeah, that was brutally quick. Alright, I'm going to talk about the attacks because we missed a lot of them. That took less than 5 minutes. I didn't do much, but none of us went down. None of us took much damage. We just brutalized the thing. Anyway, the infestation you saw, it kind of floats backward a little bit and slams the end of its tail into the ground, and it surrounds its thorax, the long back end of it, with a cloud of bugs. This is normally a good time to attack, but you want to be careful because you do not want to attack the back end because that's a trap. The bugs cause infestation status, which is unique to the Kharabak. Does damage over time, and is shortened by attacking. Slayers can attack the head of the Kharabak safely during this time. You have a much lower chance. In fact, you have basically unless you get very careless, you have basically zero chance of getting infested. The Kharabak will also struggle to pull its tail out, so you get a little bit of time there. Next up, the scissor cut. We saw it actually, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. The Kharabak raises its front end and front and middle sections for a moment, and then lunges forward, sweeps in from both sides with its front claws. You want to roll towards it or away from it. You really want to roll towards it, because that's just get inside the cutting side, get inside the cutting range of the blades. I'm gonna go over here. Next up, the metronome. We also saw this. It raises its front legs up slightly. Right claw goes up higher than the left. Then it starts moving forward, swipes with the right claw, then the left. Usually repeats this pattern one time, so it goes right, left, right, left. When it's enraged, and sometimes when the battle goes on long enough that it can activate what passes for its ether charge, it'll do this 6 times total. So be careful. This can cause wounding. A lot of the Kharabak attacks will cause wounding, which I'll talk about once I talk about the attacks. Then the thorax slam. We also saw this one. It rises up into the air, it pauses for a moment with its thorax pointing down. After a moment, it does a forward flip, brings it down, slams the thorax into the ground. This is a nice long hitbox, but the hitbox is also pretty narrow, so roll to the sides if you have to. Next up, one that we didn't get to see, because we didn't get to see a lot of them, is what I like to call engage blades. This is basically its ether charge. It rises up kind of similar to what we saw for the thorax slam or the enrage, hovers there for a moment, and then large blades, I think it's 3, sprout from each of its 4 legs, the claw arms that it uses, and then it lowers back down. This makes a lot of its attacks hit harder, and also seems to cause more wounding on its attack, or more often cause wounding on its attacks. This is kind of the Kharabak's version of the ether charge, like I said, but it will last for a long time. In fact, I've never seen it run out. Part of that's the fact that my team and I usually kill a Kharabak before that happens. But anyway, next up, this is the opportunity attack, because the lawnmower. It's going to fly off for a good distance from the Slayers, and puts itself low to the ground, both front claws out wide, vibrates slightly, then rushes forward at a pretty decent speed. If you can hit the Kharabak during this, you can knock it over. So be prepared. It moves quickly, and it kind of likes to do this sometimes during enrage, making it harder to notice, so get ready for that. The tail sweep we saw. It pauses and draws the tail slightly in one direction, then swings it in more or less a 180 with a long hitbox, because a lot of the attacks involving the Kharabak's tail have a very long hitbox. Like I said, so you can roll under the tail sweep, so be ready for that. We also saw the blade toss. Pauses with its claws in its kind of default state. Raises its front end up slightly, then swings its claws forward, usually right then left. Normally this will launch 2 crescent-shaped blades at a random pair of Slayers in the group. If it's enraged, or if the fight's gone on long enough, it can actually launch more. I've seen it do this. These will cause wounding status and do some decent damage, but you can just roll under them. You want to as well, because the damage alongside the wounding is pretty bad. And then the enrage, we saw it. The Kharabak spins as it rises up into the air. It more or less goes in a straight line from top to bottom, tail pointing at the ground, and then the red aura pushes out. This can hit you, of course. It doesn't do much damage because the enrage aura doesn't. But the unique thing here is that the Kharabak's enrage is special. Namely, because while the Kharabak is enraged, it's effectively invisible, similar to Predator from the movies. It has a very faint translucent silhouette and can be difficult to see. And this also makes its attacks a little harder to predict, because it's hard to see, okay, is it going off to do the lawnmower? Is it doing thorax slam? Is it doing the metronome? It's hard to tell. So be ready to just move if you see the thing coming at you. Now, this also gives you the end of this also gives you an opportunity, because it'll reappear. It'll become visible for a moment, hover there for a second, then dive forward. This can hit you and hit pretty hard, but its left front claw will stick on the ground, it'll rotate around it, and it'll struggle for a second to pull that claw out of the ground, so that gives you a good opportunity to attack. Now, I've mentioned wounding status a couple of times here. You didn't see it on me because I didn't get hit I barely got hit at all in that fight. Wounding is represented by a symbol underneath your health bar that looks like a heart, like the standard Valentine's Day heart thing, or the cartoon version of a heart, with a jagged line starting at the top center and breaking it not quite in half, but a little bit. It doesn't go all the way to the bottom. What wounding status does, it does a couple of things. First off, if you get hit if you get hit by the behemoth with the wound status on, you'll take a large chunk of damage. Next up, I don't remember. I need to check to make sure on this. Actually, I do know one thing, is that if you use up all of your stamina while you're wounded, you'll take a huge chunk of damage as well. The way to get rid of wounding is to there's a couple of ways. You can heal with anything. The rift, a potion, a pylon, anything that gives you healing will get rid of that wounding status like that. The other way, or there's two other ways. First off, you can just wait out the time, but I don't recommend this because that's very dangerous. The third way is also very dangerous, but it's also the least resource intensive, is that all you have to do is not do anything. Stand like perfectly still, like my character is right now, not attacking. You can have your weapon out. Not attacking, not rolling, not moving, and not getting hit, importantly enough. If you can do this for 6 seconds, the wounding goes away. Now, I didn't talk about what infestation looks like. The infestation status has a unique icon as well. Namely, it shows the Kharabak silhouette, but with a red background on it. So it's the black Kharabak silhouette and a red background. And like I said, to get rid of the infestation status faster, just attack. Well, folks, this one didn't last very long. I mean, like I said, that took less than 5 minutes, but again, we had a person using a level 10 God Hand, which is an exotic class warpike. The exotic class are the highest class of weapons I've seen in the game. I think they are the highest class in the game, but like I said, that took less than 5 minutes to kill the Kharabak, so this is going to be a short video. If you enjoyed, please feel like or favorite it, and you can also leave a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. And if you want to keep up with me and never miss any of my current series, then consider joining the squadron by subscribing to the channel. That does help me out, and I really, really do appreciate it, folks. But squaddies, as for that, I have been D. We quite brutally beat down the Kharabak today. I didn't do as much as I would have liked, but hey, whatever. So until next time, squaddies, good night, and good gaming.